Hello, today's video is going to analyse question 3 of the Edexcel GCSE language paper. That's analysing language and structural techniques. Here's the extract we're going to be looking at today. It entails some booze hounds staggering into a casino and losing a lot of money. That's the extract we're going to look at today. Before we do that though, let's have a look at the question. Now the good news is, the question is a cut and paste job. They just tonk the same question into the paper year after year after year, certainly for paper 2. And here we are. Analyse how the writer uses language and structure to engage the reader. Now, the question might be framed differently for paper 1, question 3, but it's the same skill set. And here we've got the top band criteria. Notice that word analysis. That means I don't just want to be saying what the meaning of a word or a structural technique is, but I want to be kind of saying how or why that word choice or that structural feature generates that meaning. Now, I appreciate at the moment I've given you all talk, no action, all sizzle, no steak, as my old dad would say. So what we'll do now is channel a bit of this theory into practice. We'll go back to our extract with our drunken buffoons blowing it all on red 10. The line we're going to look at, I think, and focus on is this one here. After a night knocking back nuclear strength vodka, we shamble into the casino around 1 a.m. So what I'm going to do, you remember the question, how does this extract use language and structure to engage the reader? We're going to lock in on 2 features of this quotation. That's what I call double dipping. It deepens your analysis, because you're not just looking at one detail, are you? You're looking at 2. I think the first thing we'll do is we'll look at this metaphor, nuclear strength. Nuclear means kind of potent. The grog that these lads are drinking is clearly pretty strong. Let's hope you can read the yellow pen. If you can't, it's not a problem. As well as looking at that metaphor, I think I'll also look at the verb shambled, because it works hand in glove. They work together. It reinforces the idea that these boys are very inebriated. If you're shambling, you're walking in a very unsteady manner. So, now that we've thought a little bit about the meaning of these words, let's look at the model paragraph I'll produce on the back end of that analysis to present our ideas in an engaging way to an examiner. And here we are. There's the question again. Here is the paragraph. I'll read it through and then we'll identify what inside it is making it so eye-wateringly good, so far as an examiner is concerned. In the extract, the writer uses metaphor to engage the reader. Dear states that after a night knocking back nuclear strength vodka, we shambled into the casino. This forcefully conveys to the reader how drunk the men are, because the adjective nuclear has connotations of dangerous materials. Clearly the vodka is incredibly strong. Moreover, the verb shambled emphasises their drunkenness, since it suggests they walked unsteadily. So there's what I would argue is a level 8 to 9 paragraph. Let's break it down now, chunk it down, see why it is so effective. Well, first of all, I've cited the language technique that I'm analysing here. I've also related to the question, because I'm talking about how it engages a reader. You'll notice here I've embedded the evidence. I haven't just put the evidence or the quotation in after a night knocking back. I've just put my own little 3-word introduction there. Dear states that. So I've embedded the quotation into my own sentence. It's a small thing, it's a simple thing. It just makes your quotation look that little bit more fluent and impressive on the page. And again, my quotation isn't too massive. It doesn't go on for pages and pages. It's just, I don't know, 10, 12 words or whatever. Forcefully. You don't have to put an evaluative adverb in when you're analysing language and structure, but I always think it makes you sound assured, critical, judgmental, like you've got the confidence to cast an opinion on the writer's use of language or structure. I think that plays well with an examiner. I mentioned the effect on the reader. that this word nuclear or nuclear strength shows that they were drunk. But I haven't stopped there. I've analysed. I've used my favourite word because as a springboard to explain how or why that word nuclear generates that meaning. I've said, yeah, well, nuclear suggests that they were drunk because nuclear has connotations of danger or toxicity. And again, I've just clarified my point there. Clearly, the vodka is strong. Then I've double dipped. Do you remember I said I went back and looked at shambled because I think that verb works very well with the nuclear strength to impress upon the reader how drunk these lads are. So, moreover, just a connective to signpost, I'm going deeper in my analysis, and then I've locked in on that verb shambled. Notice that I've stated the word type. I haven't just said word, I've said verb, and then I've said it shows they're drunk because of course if you're shambling you're a bit unsteady on your legs. So there is a solid level 8 to 9 paragraph. If you're knocking out 3 to 5 paragraphs of commensurate quality, they're going to have a job not giving you the highest of marks. So, just as a final parting gift, I guess the holy grail when it comes to double dipping is being able to find a language and a structural technique in the same line and analysing them both. Now I haven't bothered doing a paragraph for this, but think about how we could. So you've got this line here, we made a horrific sight, I'm sure, sweaty, ruddy-faced 20-somethings, loud and vaguely threatening. I think we can all picture those pretty boys in our head. So, what structural, what language techniques have we got here engaging the reader? Well, first of all, we've got structure of the listing. These boys are sweaty, they're ruddy-faced, means they're red-faced, they're loud, and they're vaguely threatening. So it lists these features. What's the effect of that? Well, it just emphasises the sheer extent of these boys' unpleasant nature or behaviour. There's not just one failing and fault with them, there's plenty. The listing emphasises the extent of their unpleasant natures. That, I would argue, that structural technique plays very well with that word here. These boys make a horrific sight. Horrific emphasises just how unpleasant, how unattractive they appear, and that reinforces or supports the structural technique that's in play as well. So you can imagine if you did a paragraph, a PE paragraph, looking at horrific or looking at listing, and then swapping over and looking at the other detail, that will play very well with an examiner. So, that's enough of my yakety yak. That's one easy win for tackling a question 3 exam response in paper 2 and indeed paper 1 of the Edexcel English language paper. I've been Mr. Taylor. Good luck to you.